Let's just get started early. Why not? Why not? Right? Why not? Countdowns are cool and all, but I'm just ready to roll here. Mic check. Haven't been live in quite a while. Been traveling a little bit, unwinding, decompressing, taking care of some family stuff, getting ready for the season, for the home stretch. Camp is officially here. Football's officially back, and now I'm officially concerned. But that's all right. We're going to talk through it. Cause for concern, maybe. We'll see. Mazi Smith, lose weight and penetrate in the defensive tackle dilemma. Well, we have been down this road before. If you're unfamiliar with the single largest contributing factor to the Cowboys' shortcomings in recent history, you should be. And that's obviously relates in large part to what we're going to discuss today. Brian Schottenheimer confirmed that Mazi Smith is down about 30 pounds yet again, so he's hovering right around the 300-pound range. As we know, he was drafted about 330 pounds. Okay, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting for me. It's sometimes a good thing. Okay, so yesterday, if you missed my post, after this one concludes, we're gonna try to get out of here in 30 minutes or less. So it's gonna be a pretty quick live. But just some things that I want to readdress, make sure that we're all well aware of, and of obviously new pressing topics. Okay. But at the end of my project yesterday, I touched on this. And then after I posted and submitted and just got back to thinking, and I was like, you know what? This is something that doesn't need to be just a brief conclusion to a project. It needs to be an entire project dedicated to itself. So I touched on this situation. And then it's just super cool to see you put a lot of thought and effort into some work, and then not countless, because I could have definitely tallied them up, but handfuls of people that you respect in this industry, Aisha Morrison, Skywalker Steele, Foots the King, and I know there was a couple others that whoever it was that I also saw, slips my mind right now, so apologies on that front, but they all are echoing the same sentiment. And I'm not saying they watched my video and started copying and pasting. I'm saying they're seeing and feeling what I'm seeing and feeling. So that right there feels good. But in this particular case, we're not exactly discussing the happiest of terms. And maybe this is what's up, Timo and Gene? How we doing? Maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit. I don't think that I am, just because I know the one-dimensional pass rush heavy Cowboys are they've had issues with teams who are willing to commit heavy personnel and downhill. And so what I want to do, I want to open this up and make sure we're gonna take a trip down memory lane here. And I'm going to just encourage you guys to think outside the box a little bit, okay? So what's happening now in year 3 for Mazi is the same song and dance that happened in year 1. But I want to encourage you to think outside the box and maybe foresee what I see when I say that Mazi wasn't necessarily given a fair shake. All right, let's rip this and then we'll continue. This is the truth, or I guess context, on Mazi Smith from May 14th, 2024. So a little over a year ago last year. All right, let's take a listen to this. Here's what you didn't know about Mazi Smith. And I hope this is a valuable life lesson, or at the very least, just a friendly reminder for everyone who sees this video. Check this out.
Going back to Mazi Smith, Mike wants to play him as a 1. And that's what he's going to try and do. And you're right. There should be concern. There should be some concern, though, about Mazi's well-being, though, Jeff.
Oh.
And well-being is something that people deal with. You know, when they deal with, you know, with having success, maybe not having success, struggling with, you know, the pressures of things. So yeah, there's things of a young player when you deal with the expectations and then where you're at can be a little rough on players.
Are you claiming they're human?
I'm claiming they're very human.
How dare you?
NFL players in general are under a microscope, right? But when you play for America's favorite team to hate, that microscope gets quite a bit bigger. And that was the whole point that I was trying to get people to understand early on in my content making days in regards to Dak Prescott. But this is a classic example of why I've been so outspoken on behalf of Mazi Smith all offseason, even before this information was made public. Like on the surface level, you know, maybe it seems silly. So those of you who are like, he's a professional athlete, he should be able to handle that. Okay, well, here would be my pushback. College to NFL defensive tackle transition is significant. It's drastic, right? Because you're essentially being tasked with wrestling other grown men who are as big and powerful.
The most difficult position to translate into the NFL, in my opinion, second only to the quarterback position.
Powerful as you are, but also a lot more technically refined. Okay, so it's already a very tough transition. But then on top of that, you're being tasked with dropping 40 pounds in a very, very quick amount of time, relatively speaking. The caloric deficit required to lose that much weight that quickly is insane. I don't think a lot of people take into account like what your body is doing whenever you're in that much of a deficit. Your strength suffers, your energy suffers, your mood suffers, your hormones are doing a bunch of wonky stuff.
It's important.
And you know, the strength one is the most critical and criminal for the team, right? Because of what he was drafted here to do. Right? Be big, be strong, don't move. Just eat up some blocks, that way our linebackers can flow. Okay, but the other three are most criminal for Mazi himself, personally. All the physiological stuff that he's got to deal with, the mental stuff that goes along with losing that much weight. Mazi wasn't drafted here to help you with the pass rush. Right? Getting bullied up front because you can't stop the run is what got you bounced in the postseason. That's what he was drafted here for. But then you make him somebody that he's not, and somebody that you already have way too much of. It's already a difficult jump at that position from college to pro, but then you've got the extra nonsense thrown on top of that. Yeah, I can see that stressing somebody out to the point of where he feels like he's completely overwhelmed. Just think about it, right? You spend your whole life working to achieve a goal, and you finally get to the pinnacle. You reach the milestone, which in this case is the NFL. And the moment you get there, they try to change everything that got you there in the first place. It just doesn't make that much sense. It's never made sense. I got passionately frustrated about that the minute I heard it. I've been vocal about it ever since. He's human. So like, even without this information, right, I was already in strong defense, but now that I have it, I can very easily paint the picture as to what contributed to that. You're making life essentially impossible on a kid. And we as fans, we got to be better about remembering we can't overlook the human element of sport here. It's the most important tool that any professional athlete can have, and it's the one that you can't measure, right? How ironic is that? Patience is one thing, but I think at the very least, a little bit of compassion would go a very long way.
All right. So appreciate y'all humoring me on that one. So I said what needed to be said, what I believe, and what I still passionately and strongly support, that sentiment, right? Full circle in year 3. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that year 3 for a guy at the most difficult position to translate outside of quarterback is the same as year 1. Okay, but what I am here to present is just my own personal concern, especially at the end of that clip that we just watched. It's interesting to me. Wink Martindale at Michigan, what got Mazi drafted, right? Two gapping, holding his position, anchoring the middle, And now all of a sudden you get to the pinnacle of the sport and you're tasked with not only another full-time job and losing weight, but then doing something that you've never really done and just trying to get upfield and pressure the quarterback. Aaron Whitecotton, the new Cowboys defensive line coach, is notorious for this philosophy. He's also notorious for bringing the best out of guys. Okay, so as I mentioned in the reel that I posted just a little bit ago, sort of as a precursor to this project here, who am I to judge a guy with the resume that Aaron Whitecotton has getting the best out of guys, by the way, like Javon Kinlaw with the Jets and Solomon Thomas? It's another significant name to keep in mind. Those are, a little bit more three techie types, if you will. Who am I to judge that? Okay, but penetrate and be quick is not something that Mazi's ever been. He wasn't staggered stance, 3-point, and get upfield. He was 4-point stance, even, two-gapping, hold, read, react. And now remember, this is the same guy. Let's just keep in mind who we're dealing with here, okay? I think Skywalker still made a fantastic point. And this was included in one of my original projects that once Mazi Smith officially became a Cowboy, I obviously did my deep dive and did my research. Did you know that y'all know who Bruce Feldman is, right? Every single year he puts out his college football freaks list, okay? It's just the freakiest, biggest, strongest athletes in college football, and he compiles a list together. Don't forget who was number one just 3 short years ago on that list. Mazi Smith. All right, don't forget, and this is the Skywalker Steel point, the context that I've completely forgot about, Jonathan Hankins, a couple years ago, when asked about who the strongest Cowboy was in the weight room, he didn't hesitate when he said Mazi Smith. But then on the football field, he said, that's me. I'm the strongest guy on the football field because I understand how to leverage myself, how to hand fight, technique. My get off is a little bit better. Right? If you're 330, strong as an ox, and more context I'm getting ready to provide you just in a second, but you have a high pad level, wrestling 101, low man wins. You can't be strong if you're vertical. And you can't be powerful if you're not quick, right? Because am I wrong? Maybe I remember this correctly. Force equals mass times acceleration. Is that correct? For all my science heads out there? F equals ma. So if I can equate force to power, I believe that I'm correct when I say that. Power equals mass times acceleration. You got the mass and the strength, but you can't really accelerate. It's not what you've done. Then your power suffers a little bit. So maybe that's where this 300 pounds thing comes from. Because he's just so big and so strong, but he can't be quite as powerful as he needs to be at the NFL level because he's just not quite quick enough. He can't accelerate fast enough to be powerful, to be forceful. Maybe that's it here. Important to note, and I believe Patrick No. C. Walker was the one who did so, Mazi Smith is expected by Coach Aaron Whitecotton and to play really all across the formation with the exception of the edges. He's going to play some 3, he's going to play some 1, he's going to play some 0. Okay, you damn sure can't play 3 if you can't play 3 if you're not quick enough. If your first step is slow, you can get away with it a little bit more if you're at the 1 or the 0 spot, or if you're just not asked to do what DQ Dan Quinn, right, in year 1 for Mazi and what Aaron Whitecotton like and teach philosophically. Let's go get the quarterback, right? So my concern is that the Cowboys haven't suffered in that department. Donovan Ezeraku, the most prolific pass rusher in college football last year. Micah Parsons, as soon as that contract gets done, the most prolific pass rusher, and the numbers bear that out. It's not just my opinion. In the National Football League, nobody's double teamed more than Micah, but nobody's pressure rate is higher. Okay, maybe Myles Garrett's a little bit better against the run. Sure, you could say there are better edges, but there are not better edges at getting to the quarterback than Micah. You got those two guys. And then you got Dante Fowler, just a random 10.5 sack guy that the Cowboys are throwing into the mix. And then that doesn't include all the other guys that can do pass rushy things. Being overshown. Kenneth Murray a little bit. Sam Williams, we don't even know what he is. That dude's running 22 miles per hour in practice at 260 pounds. Pass rush has never been a problem. Run stop has been the problem. If you can't play with the lead, it don't matter. Teams don't have to throw. That's the issue. Okay, now the context here to consider who Mazi Smith used to be. Did you know that at Michigan, the weight room staff, the strength and conditioning staff at U of M, Michigan, Ann Arbor, had to contact the weight room manufacturer, one of the manufacturers to one of the pieces of equipment within their strength and conditioning facility to re-weld and reconstruct the push-pull machine. I'm getting ready to show you guys right here. This right here. See where all the weight is stacked up? Okay. So where you load that weight, that bar, they had to extend it so that it could add an extra 200 pounds on top of what the manufacturer of that machine inside that facility thought was physically, humanly possible, of 600 pounds of push-pull. Mazi ended up exceeding what that threshold that they thought was possible by an extra 200 pounds. 800 is what he finished. Those reps, that's what he maxed out, he capped out at. Okay, so this is the guy that we're talking about here. The athleticism is off the charts for his size. The strength is obviously, borderline unmatched. But if you can't be quick off the ball, and if you don't understand leverage, strength don't matter. We know the clips. We've seen the film. I'm not gonna bring back old demons for Mazi, right? The human element of sport. Let's be respectful here. Let's cheer the kid on. Let's support him a little bit. Let's wish him well. And let's see what happens. I'm not trying to write him off, but my biggest question, as a matter of fact, frankly, I would be hard pressed to find somebody who's defended him at the extent that I have because of everything that I've just laid out. His year one lack of a fair shake, if you will. Okay. The thumbnail on this video, I'm concerned. It's not that I don't believe in Mazi. It's just that we've seen what happens when he's tasked with what he's being tasked with now already. Okay, my biggest question coming into camp, the one tech defensive tackle spot, is now officially my biggest concern. And it's not just because of Mazi. You need 5 guys in a rotation that have experience that can anchor the middle of your defense. One of the reasons why I argue that defensive tackle is the second most difficult position to translate. You're wrestling with grown men who are more technical than you. You're outnumbered because oftentimes as a defensive lineman versus an offensive lineman, you're outnumbered, right? They have more often than you do. And oftentimes you're fighting double teams. And On top of that, right, to make matters even worse and more difficult, you don't have the luxury of knowing what's happening, what's coming, where the play is going. So do you guys feel the same way? I mean, where are y'all at? Because I know most of the nation was mailing it in on Mazi before I was. I know that for sure. So if this is giving me concern right now, then I'm sure it is for you too. But the problem is that this can cripple an operation that I'm otherwise very excited about. An offense that we know, as long as Dak Prescott is healthy, is amongst the top in the league, is winning 12 games, is getting to the postseason. But now you add in what I believe has got a chance to be the most physically dominant interior offensive line, maybe second only to the Eagles or the Lions, who, by the way, are the exact reason we're having this conversation on top of the 49ers. They're coming. Daddy's home. Those three teams have proven that they can not only meet you in the ring for a heavyweight fight, they're the actual enforcer. You are not. The Cowboys, their stylistically, have been the featherweight. They're the, hey, let's be light, let's be fast, let's be quick. Let's get after the quarterback. But in the ever-evolving NFL, the NFL that is now the pendulum that swung back in favor of physicality, you can't check that first box. You're in trouble. Okay? Back to my point before I got on a little sidebar tangent. You need 5 guys like Mazi Smith that can kind of rotate in. And Aaron Whitecotton says it. That's one of his core principles too, is you're going to run your butt off to the football every play. So not only, that's why. So D-line is more difficult than O-line, okay? You're outnumbered. You don't know where things are going. But just look at the evidence, okay? You need 4 or 5 defensive tackles minimum to survive one game. In a perfect world, 5 offensive linemen, not one of them come off the field at all. But here's the thing. Why it's not so much Mazi as it is the state of the room that has been neglected for far too long. Jay Toia, we're banking on. So because Mazi Smith, 300 pounds now. He's not 330 like he was when they drafted him. Jay Toia, he's the one guy that fits the description of a true one tech, 340. But guess what? That's a seventh round rookie. So Jay Toia has got the family lineage gives me hope. Aaron Whitecotton and his resume gives me hope for Mazi to really turn that corner. Is it really just because he's got to be faster to be forceful? I'm thinking scientifically. I'm outside the box, y'all. That's what we do. Sports below the surface around here. Critical thinking, below the surface thinking, human element of sport, sports psychology. Kind of just thinking out loud. I don't know. I had one more point that I wanted to make to close with. In closing, lost my train of thought, but I'll get it back. Somebody else weigh in though. What do we think? Am I crazy here? Am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy. Cue this music back up. What was I thinking a second ago? I had something really important to say. It was actually my closing take. Can't think of what it was. Oh, okay, I got it. I was going to be mad if I couldn't get that thought back. Sometimes a little beat just to take you out of your previous train of thought and just kind of like regather yourself does the body good. Okay, here's my thing. And I posed this question to Vach a few weeks ago on our collaborative segment that we did together. Really fun project. Really appreciate him. One of the trailblazers in this community. I hope you're right, Nathaniel. Really hope so. This project collaboration here with Vach, one of the questions I asked him, and he said, rightfully so, maybe. Obviously, I respect his opinion. He thought that I was maybe being a little bit optimistic with this take, with this closing argument that I'm getting ready to hopefully re-explain to you guys. But this video right here, in case you missed it, I know it's been the dead period for a while, so I don't obviously I ain't holding it against y'all. If you've been taking a vacation or 2 or 3, I took 1 or 2 myself, but it's this one right here. Lando and Vach uncut on Guyton, Booker, and outdated positional value. Really deep, in my opinion, critical thinking on not just the current Cowboys situation, but the evolution of the NFL that should give all Cowboys fans plenty of hope and optimism, at least offensively. Or what Brian Schottenheimer, his favorite word, that he is not just speaking, he is embodying and living with the decisions that he is making. Tyler Booker, case in point, first and foremost. Really, really recommend you taking a few extra minutes out of your day if you haven't already. 7.7. That's one of my best performing videos. When Vach shows up, guess what? You guys show up too. So thank you for that. But if you haven't seen that one yet, I would love to have some feedback on it because, once again, I believe strongly in it. I don't say anything that I don't believe strongly in, and that's in some ways that's a blessing and a curse. But neither here nor there. Closing thoughts. My question to Vach was everything that we've just laid out. Most of you who are here and many other of my colleagues and all of their people, a really good, strong, healthy number of Cowboys Nation understands very well the single biggest and most inhibiting, or I guess prohibitive factor to their long-term success, maximizing and reaching their ceiling. One-dimensional on both sides of the football. Lack of run game, lack of run stop. We're not going to get too deep into that conversation here. But so off of that thought process, my question to Vach was, should we be, is the Cowboys coaching staff higher on Mazi Smith than the fan base is, generally speaking? Not very aggressive in addressing the defensive tackle position in free agency, and not very aggressive, passive, actually, if we're being honest, at addressing the defensive tackle position in the draft. 7th round rookie Jay Toya, as well as Tommy Akingbasote. UDFA. do their actions suggest to us that they feel a little bit better about Mazi Smith? Obviously, Oso Digizua, Solomon Thomas, right? We get it. But those are more 3-tech types than the fan base does. Vach's opinion, he thinks that was a little bit optimistic. And at the time that was before I knew that he had lost 30 pounds. So I really don't know what to think. But what I know is that one position, if it's not taken care of, can undermine the rest of the operation. Like I said, once again, that I'm very excited about. Okay. All we can do is watch and continue to track this, but I think it's very important. My biggest concern as of right now, it's not the running back position. It's not the cornerback position. It's not the left tackle. Once again, the thumbnail on the project with Vach is the decreasing value of the left tackle position because of the ever evolving NFL that's now leaning into the pendulum that's swinging back in favor of physicality. Why? Because defenses have countered the offensive evolution of the last 10 to 15 years. Modern spread offenses, lighter personnel, faster tempo, pass heavy. Defenses have to counter. They got to go light. 4-4 backers, hybrid edges, 5-6 DBs all the time. They get faster. It's the same topic that we covered yesterday with Kavontae Turpin. Why using him out of the backfield as opposed to handing him the football coming in motion or across the formation is a completely different action and a completely different and much more efficient result. Not just because it more closely replicates what he sees when he's returning the football, but it's just because it's modern evolution. Okay? You can't beat defenses to the edges as easily as you could 10 years ago. Okay, and so it's a constant chess match, guys. So that's all I got today. 32 minutes is pretty good. It's about 2.5 minutes behind schedule. Make sure that you're continuing to help us grow. I will be in Oxnard. If you're also going to be there, look for me. Come say what's up. Come talk to me. Let's have conversations. Let's grow the community. And I've done my part today. The best way for you to do your part as well by helping me out, assuming that you've already subscribed, is to hit the like button. That's how we grow. That's how we get there. 5K on the way. We're about 50 or so away. So if you're one of those people that still hasn't hit that button yet, please do so. We're growing. We're having some fun. And football's back. So the Cowboys are too. It's really cool to see the vibes, the energy. It's up, man. The volume is up on the music, and the vibes and the energy are as well. Everything is there for the taking, so long, health permitting. Obviously, that's the case for everybody, but this defensive tackle position must get solved. One tech, particularly, of course. Okay. Had the thought earlier, came across, laid it on my heart, I guess, to say this in conjunction with what I usually close with today. So I'm here to tell you, if you're here and you're listening, do that thing that you've been wanting to do for a long time, but that you just kept putting it off because you're scared. All right. Take that leap, bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump, because at the end of the day, it's ultimately up to you. But do that thing, because it's you versus you, and it's only up to you to get it done. All right. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon. T-Jack, welcome to the party, brother. Appreciate you being here late. I'm sorry I'm dipping out on you now, but better late than never, as always. Okay.